Just going to see my dad in in the home. In France, it's called an EHPAD, EHPAD, and it's down this little road, which is, well, I've walked from my house and I'm at 1 hour. So I was going to come on my bike today, but my tyre was flat and it just wouldn't pump up, and my car going in the garage tomorrow. So as it's a bit cooler today, I decided to walk, and that's the mountains ahead. It's a nice walk, still quite warm but cooler than it has been. And yes, I'm going to stay maybe 20 minutes with my dad. It's just after lunch, so normally he goes to sleep, and he sleeps most of the time. But if he's asleep, maybe I'll just leave him. And I just bought a few sweets and things for him, so I'll leave those. And this is the colour on the right here that I want to paint my house at the front. I already spoke to a painter about it, and he said I wouldn't do it because not many people like that colour, and as you're wanting to sell your house, he said it'll put people off. But I really like it, with the white around the windows, or cream around the windows, and dark blue shutters. See? Looks good. And if you can imagine the blue of that trampoline, the colour of the shutters, it's really nice, really Mediterranean, even though we're not near the Mediterranean, really Mediterranean looking. So well, he showed me some options, and they were basically cream and a kind of very like a magnolia colour, and just made it so boring like all the other houses. So I'm going to stick to my guns and go for the, it's not orange, he called it orange, it's not orange. I don't know what colour it is really. I said it was like a melon, like a cantaloupe melon colour, which it is. I think it looks really nice. Anyway, so this building now on the right here is the home. It's a private car park there for the people that work there on the right, and that's the bit with the raised roof there. That's the reception area and all the admin offices. And then as you can see, it goes along there, and my father is it goes right down the corridor there and turn right. He's right at the end because that's a secure unit, because he does have Alzheimer's. Okay, I have to stop it here. So just left the home and I'm walking home. Yeah, so it took me an hour to get there. It's going to take me an hour to get home, and I stayed about 20 minutes to half an hour with my dad. And it's really sad. It's really sad to know that I know they're looking after them, and it is a really good home, and it's so spotless. And the nurses and the doctors are so great there, but it's just hopeless really, because when I look at my dad, who was such an active person, and who had when the routes to Russia, first charter flights opened up, my dad was on them, and going to and from Russia for holidays. We didn't go. My mum didn't go either. My dad went with my brother, and he went with my grandmother as well, and he went on his own. Yeah, he loved Russia. And when I look at my dad and all that he achieved, and looked after us as a family, and moved to France for his retirement with my mum, everything that he's been through, and he's just reduced to kind of like a zombie now. They are very zombie-like in the home. I think they're all medicated. I know my dad's medicated, and he takes an awful lot of medication every day, and doesn't really know who I am. Had to ask. He always has to ask me, "Who are you?" And I force him to know his name. I always tell him, "Come on, you know it, you know it," and then he says his name, and he has no idea who. When I say my mother's name, he has no idea who she was, or even if it's a woman, it just doesn't mean anything to him. Doesn't know anything about my brother except for the fact that he was supposed to come and he didn't come. But he doesn't know who he is, and he doesn't even know when I tell him my name. He says, "Oh yeah, Alison," but he doesn't know that I'm his daughter. He just thinks I'm a nurse. He doesn't know, doesn't even really know where he is, and he tells stories all the time. You know what happens and what's happening, and the home's got no money, and the going down the pan, and all this. He just invents things, and it's it's really sad. I just find it so sad to know that I'm 63, he's 90, nearly 92, but oh gosh, I could have nearly another 30 years. That's quite haunting thought, really. But as long as you're in good health, it's the main thing, and good health meaning that you've got your own faculties. You've got a good mind. You haven't lost your memory, and to be able to walk, even if you've got handicaps of sorts, as long as you can walk and see and have your memory. These are like the most essential things I think in life. It's not money, it's this. And the frightening thing is that so many people now have Alzheimer's. Half of that home has Alzheimer's. They said at the beginning the unit was very small, and it's growing and growing and growing until now half of the home is Alzheimer people. It's just, it just makes you wonder, why are we all getting Alzheimer's? I'm really worried about it because my grandmother had it. Well, she was very old. She died at 104, and she had it at the end. My mum had it, but not to the extent that my dad's got it. My dad's got it. I mean, it's just inevitable that I'm going to have it, and I'm absolutely dreading it. I don't want to go in a home. I don't want to be just kept alive and, paying money into the government for just, being a zombie. I'd rather my children just give me the pill and take the money. So I'm going to have to find a plan for that. But the whole thing, going every time I go to the home, it's called an iPad. Every time I go there, I always want to come out feeling a little bit happy for my dad, and I don't. It's just always the same. It's not depressing. It's just sad. And all the people that you pass along the corridors, we're all just sitting there along in chairs next to each other, all down the corridor, and often asleep or just looking into space really. And in the part where my dad is, he does have a lovely bedroom, and it's got like French doors going out onto a terrace and everything, but they're bolted shut because if my dad could get out, he'd be gone. So he's got a nice view, and he's got a view of the mountains, and he loves his view, and he loves his bed, and he loves his bedroom, and that's so comforting. But when you go in the rest of the area where it's a secure unit, it's just depressing. There's people just sitting in wheelchairs facing the wall, or trying to get into a locked room. Like today I went in, and there was an old lady in a wheelchair. I opened the door of the secure unit, and she was trying to get into a door on the left. So she was just like trying the handle all the time. And I was there, 20 minutes to half an hour. And when I came out, she was still doing the same thing. And just think, oh God. And also, all the rest of them. It's a big room. There's a big, big lounge, and they're all sitting next to each other in one half of the lounge, but they're not speaking. So when you walk past, they all look at you, but they don't speak. I don't even know if they can speak. And, it's just sad. So anyway, I'm walking back home now, And I said to my dad I'll be back next week. I do go once a week and take him some sweets and stuff, but yeah, next week hopefully I'll have my car, or I'll have my tyre pumped up and I'll be able to cycle. Anyway, it's nice and quiet here today. It's a lot cooler, like I said earlier, and there's hardly anybody coming down this road. It's nice and quiet. It'd be nice to have a house here because you're south facing. You've got a view of the mountains, the small mountains before the big mountains, but you can't see the big mountains today because it's cloudy, and we're loving that cloud. Everybody's saying so great today, even though it's warm. It's really warm and really close. You know, it's the kind of heat that just makes you perspire, but it's not boiling hot and uncomfortable. So I'm just walking down this. This is the same village as where the home is. It's called Puentes, and I did say in a previous video that I didn't know what my village was. Was it a village or a town? And I asked a guy who's lived there virtually all his life, and he's on the committees of lots of associations and worked for the Mary, and he said he didn't know either. He said, oh, it's like in between. It's like bigger than a village but not as big as a town. So like the big town around here is like 3 or 4 times bigger than my town, and it is a town. It's a real big town, but this is a village and my town is bigger than this. That makes sense. So there's a big plot of land here. It's for sale, €20,000. So it goes from the road here and right down to the end of that white fence and across. Yeah, €20,000 if you want to buy a piece of land and build a nice house. And it's quite flat, so yeah, it's quite flat. You've got neighbours on both sides. You've got nothing at the back of you, just fields. I think it's agricultural. And another piece of land here, but couldn't quite, no, there isn't a price on it. This is a bit bigger, so it's all of this going right round to the signpost. So all of that there, what is it, 2 to 2,500 meters squared probably. It is for sale. It's got electricity on the land, and I guess water connected under the road there. So I'll show you when this is the last house of the village. So I'm going to switch it off now, and I'm going to show you the next little village that I go through before I get back to my village. This is just in the next village, in between the last village and my village. And I'm high up here. I'm looking down in the valley in this lovely house with a weeping willow in the garden. How lovely is that? How beautiful. This is still the next village, called Huos. I think I videoed here before when I was on my bike, and the nice thing about this village is everything is in stone, and they've got lovely stone walls. Reminds me of the north of England a little bit. Nice cemetery in there. Wonderful trees. Pretty sure I videoed this part before because it's almost where I had my lunch when I was on my bike. Anyway, so back on the main road, going up to my town village now. Super busy this road, very noisy. Oh, lots of dogs. And I just saw a prune tree that was hanging over the pavement, and so I took about 8 prunes. Oh my god, they're gorgeous. So sweet and juicy. So straight on the hill there, that's actually the chateau at the end of my road. And my house is about 300 yards to the left of that. First of all, I'm going to cross the river, and then I'm going to go right towards Lidl and just get a few pieces for dinner. So when I get to the bridge, I'll video a bit there because this road is not that interesting. So I just want to show you here, sorry, all these apples on the floor. It's like they're coming off this great big tree. It's too high to pick them. But on the way home, and in this, it's not really countryside. So there's the tree up there. But it's not really countryside. Not properly countryside anyway. I could have had some apples, and there were some black currants, and I have in my bag got quite a few prunes. So I'm going to Lidl now. I don't need fruit. So there you are. There's the famous Lidl in my village. I don't really come a lot. I go up the hill to Carrefour. But this Mondial Relay van here, you will see as maybe about 10 places in this small town village where I live that have Mondial Relay visiting twice a day. So in this world of computer consumerism, this, yeah, I mean honestly, it should have its own shop here, big shop, because it's always there. It literally stays there for an hour unloading everything and picking up stuff, and it's there twice a day. Every time I come to Lidl, it's there at the lockers and everywhere here. So this really is goodbye for now, and love to you all.